Hi everyone, this is MT. I'm a language learning advisor, English coach, as well as multi-language learner myself. Today I'm sharing what I think about thinking in the target language without translating from your native language and how you can do so. First of all, I think whether it is okay to translate your native language or not depends on the distance between your native language and the target language. For example, English and Japanese are very different. As the sentence structure is different, it is painful to translate your original sentence into the target language while speaking. Whereas Japanese and Korean, or English and Spanish are similar, so even though the learners use their native language to make a sentence as a help, they should not be too confused by it. Of course, it would be better if they could think directly in the target language though. If your target language is very different from your native language, I recommend making sentences without using your native language or the language you can speak fluently. Now, you might ask me how. Okay, let me explain. When we make a sentence in our target language, we tend to make a complex sentence. So don't do that. You are making it more difficult than it should be. Let's make it simpler. Think directly in your target language. I suggest that you memorize phrases and chunks. For example, if you memorize the phrase 簡単そう, it means it looks easy in Japanese. You can say it without translating in your head. And if you know the phrase 簡単そう already, you can say it looks difficult, 難しそう, by changing the adjective from 簡単 to 難しい. Like this, you increase the phrases you can say without thinking too much about grammar and embed the new words into those phrases. In this way, you can expand your phrases. Okay, so to those people who are eager to learn a language, I recommend the following methods. There are 4 methods: repeating, shadowing, reading aloud, and reciting. If you could memorize a dialogue, you will be able to utilize those phrases and chunks in it. Okay, this way, you don't need to rely on your native language. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how to make your language learning routine. First of all, let me ask you one thing. What do you think is the most difficult thing in language learning? Let me tell you what I think. I think the most difficult thing in language learning is to continue the language learning. I think everybody is so excited to learn the language at first, but as time passes, you will be lazier or you will feel, you find something different it's more exciting things to do. Then maybe a little by little you will lose the interest, right? But to avoid that, it is important to have language learning routine, right? So today I'm going to share with you what kind of language learning routine I have and hope it helps, and I wish you continue your language learning. Alright, so first of all, set a time with your friend or language exchange partner and study together. Okay, I really recommend setting a time with your friend to study. A friend can be the person who is learning the same language as you, or the person is a native speaker of your target language, and you can exchange your language. You can set the time in a half an hour, speaking your own language, half an hour speaking their own language, your target language, right? So I think that is important to do that kind of arrangement in advance. That's one thing I really recommend, and maybe you can have it regularly. So it is not that easy to find that kind of friend, but there are many different ways to find that kind of person. So you can find the person who is really serious in language learning, and you can share your thoughts and ideas and exchange those your language. I think that is really beneficial to do. And also, it is good that if you have the person who studies the same language as you, so you can, get together online and you can study the language together. I think it is really good to compete each other, or like you help each other and stuff like that. And you can share the information, or you can share the good YouTube videos, good websites and stuff like that. That really helps, and it can motivate you as well, right? So number 2, prepare something before the session with your exchange partner or a teacher. So if you have a lesson with your teacher, you try to do your homework, to assignment, and you prepare some questions you ask your teacher, like you utilize the session, you make it as a habit that you prepare a lot before the lesson, before the session, and after the session. I think that is really, really beneficial. And if you have a language exchange partner, like same for you as well, you can prepare what you want to talk about on the day with your language partner. So you prepare some words which you don't know, like you plan in your head that what kind of talk you can have with that person, and that is important to like you rehearse in your head and stuff like that. Okay, that is really beneficial as well. Okay, number 3, plan X week challenge. Yeah, this is really good too. I did once, like 30 days Chinese speaking practice. So you decide to do this 30-day challenge, and every day you talk to somebody or you talk to your teacher, and maybe you can tweet, right? Or you can announce to everybody, announce to your friend that you're going to do this 30 days challenge. So it make you have to do it, right? So you cannot quit. If you don't tell other people, then it's easier to quit. So if you tell your friends, your family, and like everybody, so you're not really quitting, right? You tend to keep your words. So I think that is important as well. And number 4, when you do your chores, listen to useful YouTube videos and podcasts for your language learning. You choose the chores which you do every day. For example, you do the dishes, and when you do the dishes, you can listen to some podcast, or when you hang your clothes to dry, then while doing so, you can listen to some podcasts or some YouTube videos. And I think it's really good if you pair up your daily tasks and your language practice or language learning. I think it is good to do like listening, right? Because when you are doing some chores, you cannot really watch. Maybe possible, but yeah, you're listening all YouTube videos or like watching some videos is quite good, I think. And also you can utilize your commuting time. You can listen to it, listen to some podcasts or some other things as well. So that is really good. CDs, if you have CDs, or some like listening materials, and reading also good, right? On the train you can read some books if you like. That is really good. And the number 5 is practice shadowing using your spare time. By recording your voice, you can see your progress, and it makes you want to practice it more. I think it is really important to see your progress. If you see the progress, it makes you want to do it more. If you want to, improve more, right? You will be greedy. So yeah, you want to do it again and again. So that is important. And shadowing is very, very good. So, you can practice shadowing. You can use your spare time to practice shadowing. For example, you can do it right after waking up, or before going to bed, or during your lunchtime, or when you walk your dog or something like that. Find some spare time to do this kind of thing. If you it becomes your habit, I think it's a lot easier to do this kind of thing. Okay, so these are the 5 things which I do to make my language learning routine. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of clarifying the purpose of learning your target language. First of all, let me ask you one question. What is your purpose of learning your target language? Or, why are you learning your target language? If you could answer the question right away, you are on the right track. If you couldn't, please continue listening to find out why it is important. There are two reasons why I think it's important. First, when you are not motivated, it can remind you why you are learning the language, and it can help you continue your study. Learning a language is a long journey, and it takes a long time. At first, I'm sure you will be really excited to learn the language, but it is difficult to stay motivated all the time. So when you are not motivated, it is important to have a purpose or reason why you are learning the language. If the reason is very important to you, you will most likely continue your study. Secondly, you need to know your purpose to plan your study. Depending on your purpose, what you should study differs. You should clarify your purpose and should focus first on improving those skills you need to achieve your goal and memorizing the vocabulary and expressions you would use the most. These are the two reasons why I think it's important to clarify the purpose of learning your target language. Today, I'm going to share 4 basic tips to teach yourself a language. This episode is intended for those who are new to language learning. Alright, let's get started. Point number 1. Find a person who can correct your pronunciation. When you start learning a language, I think it's very common to find some nice textbooks and videos to teach you the language. But it's not really common to find a person who can correct your pronunciation. But it's very important to have someone who can correct your pronunciation from the beginning. Once you learn some words and sentences with wrong pronunciation, then it's kind of difficult to redo it. So you should be corrected from the beginning. Alright, point number 2. Be exposed to the language every day. Until you hit a certain level, you should be exposed to the language every day. I'm not telling you to learn the language for many hours a day, but you should be exposed to the language every day. Even though it's not that long time, even though it's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but you should do it every day. Point number 3. You should make as many example sentences as possible using the learned sentence patterns. Even though you learn many sentence patterns, it's no meaning if you cannot use it in conversation. So you should make many example sentences using those patterns until you feel comfortable and confident enough to use it in the conversation. Point number 4, don't give up even though you cannot see the progress. I think it is very typical that people quit learning the language because they cannot see the progress. But sometimes it's very difficult to see the improvement even though you learn new sentence patterns, grammar, and new words, but it takes time, right? If you continue learning it, then after a few months, you will see the result. You will see the progress, right? So please try to stick to it. But if you really want to quit, please do 2 things. Number 1, please remind yourself why you are learning the language. If you have a concrete purpose of learning the language, I'm sure you can continue learning it. Okay, then number 2, please try to find an enjoyable way of learning your language. Okay, there are so many different methods of learning a language. So you can try some or try many to find one which you can, feel enjoyable to do it. All right? So those are 4 tips which I wanted to share with people who are new to language learning. So that's all for today. Feel free to send me a question or comment. Thank you so much for listening and hope to see you in the next episode. Bye!